Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn, Share and Repeat with me, your host, Peter Rising. Nice to see you again. If you're coming back to the channel, welcome if it's your first time. Please do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button down below. It takes a second, it's free to do so, and remember to hit the notifications bell as you're clicking on it. Wonderful. You can also consider becoming a member of my channel. If you want to support the channel, click the join button and you will see the various membership levels that are available to you. Anyway, on to today's topic. What are we going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking all about Microsoft Entra and a feature that's been around for a little while now. It's still in preview. It's called Global Secure Access. What is it? It's all to do with SSE, which is Security Service Edge. It's a VPN killer, basically. What it's going to do, it's going to give you secure access to control who can get into your Microsoft 365 services, your private access applications as well, and it's going to enable you to configure web content filtering as well, which is wonderful, absolutely wonderful stuff. I'm going to show you how it all works, where it's at right now, what you can do with it. Let's check it out. So here we are in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, entra.microsoft.com. I'm logged in as a global administrator, and we are going to set up our SSE. Let's just scroll down, and where we want to be is right here under Global Secure Access, and it's a preview feature. Click on Get Started. Now, I've already activated it in my tenant, but if you haven't, you'll just have to go through a very quick click button activation process, which will get you to here. And there are two types of SSE that we can configure in here. We've got Microsoft Entra Internet Access. That's what I'm going to be going through today. And we've got Microsoft Entra Private Access. And we'll take a look at this perhaps another time. Today I'm going to focus on the Internet Access. We do get a dashboard with this as well. There's nothing in it right now, no data available. As you can see, that is something that will come to us later as we go through this. Applications, we can configure applications in relation to SSE here. I'm not going to get into that on this video either. I'm going to get into the configuration of SSE within Entra and show you how it ties in and uses conditional access very, very much in its DNA. So we will be looking at a few sections here. Going downwards, we will be in the Connect section, and we will be looking at the Secure section as well. And where we need to start, though, is right here in the Global Settings. So if we go into Global Settings and Session Management, we've got two sections in here, two tabs. We have tenant restrictions, which enable admins to control whether their users can access an external organization's resources with accounts issued by the external organization while using your organization's network or device. So there's a note here. Please note this configuration can only be enabled once users and groups and applications are configured. So not what I'm going to do today. We can come back and do another video on that in the future. What I'm more interested in here, and what you do need to enable in order to get this working with conditional access, is these adaptive access settings. So we need to enable global secure access signaling in conditional access. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. Now, with that done, I just want to show you what that means within conditional access. So let's scroll back up in our Entra portal and let's go to Protection and Conditional Access. And if we click onto Named Locations, we can see a new entry here that has been added. All compliant network locations. The location type is network access. So this has been added by us enabling that feature. Okay, there we go. Next, back to the Global Secure Access and go into Connect and look at traffic forwarding. Now, what you will see in here are there are three built-in profiles that are available to us. They're all disabled by default and we can enable them as needed. We have got Microsoft 365 Access Profile, And we can see that this applies to all Microsoft 365 traffic. We can see that 3 policies relate to that. If we click on View, we can see the policies that will be impacted by that. It's Exchange Online, it's SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business, and it's Microsoft 365 Common and Office Online. And we can see all of the applicable rules within there. So we've got private access profile as well, which will apply to any private resources that you might have in your organization. We're not going to look at that one today because that's a little bit more complicated and I don't have any private access resources that I can demonstrate to you. The third one is an internet access profile. Now this one is really cool. It's something that applies to all internet traffic except Microsoft 365. So you can use this as a web content filtering policy and control what your users, based on conditional access, can or can't get access to. Really cool stuff indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and enable this one, the 365 access profile, and I'm going to go ahead and enable the internet access profile as well. And that won't affect anything just yet. It's just going to enable those. Where these come into play is by associating the conditional access policies with them. Now, in order for this to all work for the users that get this applied to them, you need a client download. Any device that is going to be using this technology needs to have a client download applied to them. Now, at the moment, you can get this client download for Windows 10 and 11. The requirements of that are that it must be 10 or 11, a version of Windows, Microsoft Entra joined, and crucially, local admin permissions. Interesting. There are some other options here. Android, you can get the app on the Google Play Store, so that's cool. iOS, unfortunately, not freely available yet. You can click to get early access. I've not tried that one. Even more unfortunately, in my case, because I'm a Mac guy, as many of you know, you have to request early access, but if you do so at the moment, you get this very unpleasant message saying there's no more room. So I've clearly not looked at this feature quickly enough to be considered. So we'll try and do a little bit of a demo with Windows 10 and 11 a little bit later in the video. I'll download the client in a Windows virtual machine and we'll go through what that looks like. But next, and you'll recall, we've set up 2 of the traffic forwarding profiles. I'm going to go through what we need to do to configure the Microsoft 365 access profile first. And this relates to conditional access policies. You'll note right now we don't have any linked conditional access policies. We can go ahead right now and create one that will be applicable to it. So let's go back to our conditional access. Let's go into policies and I'm going to create a new policy. And I will give it a name. I'll call it SSE for M365. Now I can choose who I want this to apply to. Let's go to users and I'm going to select a specific user and I'm going to pick on one of my regular guinea pigs here, which is Stella Gibson in this organization, stella.gibson@peterrisingm365.com. Let's take a look at target resources. Now we can go all cloud apps, we can select specific apps, and we can get granular here. So let's go in and choose the apps that I want to use SSE on when I'm doing this. Now I'm going to click to select specific apps, and if I click on select, I can choose which ones I want to be part of this. In this example, I'll go for the Office 365 option. I'll click on select, and that's added into there. There we go. We can look at conditions, and in our conditions, what we want to select here are locations. And as we do so, what we are going to do is, yes, we're going to configure locations and we're going to leave this set as any location. But significantly here, what we want to do is exclude the location that we have set up now in conditional access named locations. And that is all compliant network locations. There we go. So that goes in there like that. And next, what we want to do, and hopefully you'll get this as we get to the grant part of the equation, is we click on grant and we're going to block access. So we're going to block access to all locations, but we've got that exclusion for the new locations that we set up for our SSE. So with that being said, we've just double checked everything. I just want to make sure that we've got everything. Actually, I'll just need to click on select before I can do that. And if I go into users, I just want to make absolutely sure that I'm not going to lock myself out of my tenant here. We've got Stella that applies to there. We can test that, and I can happily switch that to on now and create the conditional access policy. So that gets created, and there we go. SSE for M365, the policy is on. Okay. So next, installing the client on a machine. Now, I'm on a Windows machine now. I've gone into Entra, I've downloaded the client. Let's go ahead and install said client. Let's show you what that looks like. If I go into my downloads on this very fresh Windows 11 device that I've just spun up, there it is, Global Secure Access Client. Hoping this is going to be quite straightforward. I suspect it will be. Double clicked on that and we got some spinning. Here we go. That took a few moments to pop up for some reason. Yes, I'll agree to the terms and I will install. Compatibility check. Processing. Looking good. Thinking this is probably going to be quite lightweight. No more than this. Come on, let's do it. There we go. That took a little longer than I thought it might, but we've done it. Installation successfully completed. Fine. What we have next pop up immediately is the Global Secure Access sign-in. So what I want to do here is I want to sign in as Stella.Gibson. So we're going to pretend that this is her machine. Our old friend Stella, Stella.Gibson at Peter. risingm365.com. Okay, logging in, enters the password. There we go. Let's just approve my sign-in request. Actually, I don't have Stella set up on my authenticator right now, so let's just send a text and verify. There we go. Looking good. More information required. Fine, we can do more information. I don't have a problem with that at all. Oh, it just wants to verify these security info methods. Yeah, that's fine. That's up to date. Not a problem with any of that. And okay, pick an account. Well, already did, but fine. We'll pick it again. Okay. Password again. Oh, this is going to complain at me again that I can't use the... No, I can't use that. I'm going to need to send a text, you pesky nuisance. Pesky nuisance. Okay, here we go. 429,871. Verify. Does it like that? Does it like it? I hope so. Anyway, let's minimize that for a second and minimize that. And what I'm hoping, yay, look what we've got here. We've got Global Secure Access Client is connected. Now, what can we do with that? Can we click on it? Can we double click on it? Can we right click on it? All right. What we can do some diagnostics from here. We can collect some logs. We can restart, resume. We can pause, log in as a different user. Okay. Right, now, let's see this in action, and I'm hoping by this time my conditional access policy has had time to flow around the internet and work its magic. The client is working, and let's go. So if we go Office, actually, before we start that, let's just come out of that browser. And I want to pause this. I want to pause the client, because if you'll recall, we set up the conditional access policy to block, with the exception of those who were part of that particular configuration for SSE. So Stella should have no problem getting to Office 365 services with that client running. But if we go to office.com here and try and sign in, let's just see if it does what I hope it's going to do. We might have to wait for, I don't want that. I don't want to log in as me. I thought I told you to forget that, but never mind. Let's just try logging in as Stella. And password. And no. And yeah, boom, look at that. The conditional access policy is kicked right in. Because I don't have that client running at the moment, because that is paused, it's not letting me. It's not able to verify that the client is there. So let's just close the browser and let's just re-enable our, let's resume our global secure access. And yeah, that's running nicely now. Let's open our browser once again. I probably didn't need to close it, but I just like to be thorough. Office.com with our client running again. Yes, I accept the privacy, blah, blah, blah. Sign in. Let's change to Stella. Stella.Gibson and computerizing. Password. Bum, bum, bum. Moment of truth. It's getting further because it wants MFA. I can't use that right now. Let's just wait for a little text. And this time 896.253. Verify. And bum, 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 bum. Ta-da! Hey, I love it. Fantastic. There you go. That's it doing its job. Wonderful stuff. So we can get into Office 365. I don't know why it refreshed there and did all that stuff, but we should be able to get into Stella's OneDrive and all those Office 365 services that she needs to do her job on a daily basis. Beautiful. So how cool was that? That was amazing. But that's only part one of what we want to look at in this video. So back to Global Secure Access. We've done, just as a brief recap, let's just go back into the traffic forwarding. We've done this part. This is the part that we've done now, the Microsoft 365 access profile. Next, I want to show you the internet access profile and how we can use this as a web content filtering policy methodology in conjunction with, under the secure section here, web content filtering policies and security profiles. So let's go firstly into web content filtering policies. Now, what we've got here is there is already one in here, all websites. Let's just take a little look at that because I don't recall creating that. Let's just have a look. All websites, all internet access traffic allow. Okay, that's fine. Maybe this is a default policy, I guess. Okay, let's just not worry about that one. Let's go ahead and create a specific policy to show you this in action and how it works. If I go to create policy, I can give my policy a name, and let's face it, you're probably going to want to use this to block certain web activities. So the action is, the one we saw there was allow, but this one is block. So let's create a blocking policy. So what might we want to do? A common one in organizations might be blocking things like Twitter and LinkedIn and whatnot, social media, that sort of thing, TikTok. So we could do that. We could block entertainment websites, all sorts of stuff we could do. So how do we do that? Let's go on to the social. Let's title this one social network blocking, and see what that looks like. So put it in the description always. You know I say to do that, but I'm going to be naughty and not do that because I'm lazy. Rules. Let's add in some rules. And when we configure the rules here, then we can put in this rule of, again, social block. Make it a bit more descriptive than that. Obviously, I'm being a bit lazy. What is the destination type? We can do this by two methods. We can do it by categories for the web, or we can put in the FQDN of the particular website. So we could go as far as putting in wildcards here for Microsoft.com, for example. That's all well and good if you have a particular website that you want to put in individually and separate it by commas, it looks like. Web category, I think, is the easier way of doing that. And if we scroll down here, we can do things like alcohol and tobacco, criminal activity, all sorts of stuff, gambling, hacking, hate and intolerance, illegal software, lingerie and swimsuits. My goodness. Okay, lots of interesting categories to say the least. But entertainment, that's something that I called out. But lots of things that we can. We've got professional networking here, so that's probably going to cover things like LinkedIn. Where is social networking? There it is, social networking. So tons of things you can do here. So interesting. Let us see in this test here if we can block social networking but leave professional networking allowed. So we want to block things like Twitter or X and Facebook and TikTok and Pinterest, I guess. But let's try and leave LinkedIn alone. So there we go. We've got that rule. Let's go next. Let's go to create our policy. And there we go. Wonderful, wonderful. Next, the other step we need to do here is to create a security profile. So let's go in and do just that. Let's create a profile and we'll just tie it to the policy that we created, just social blocking. The state of this is enabled. The priority. Now, if you have more than one security profile, this refers to the ordering of that security profile among other security profiles. Please note that a security profile of priority 65000 applies to all internet traffic. Okay, interesting. There we go. There we go. We'll just leave that as 100. And what we need to do now is we want to link a policy to it. So let's go to an existing policy. We could create a new one from here if we wanted to. Let's go to our social network blocking policy and click on add. Let's go next. Let's create that profile. And there we go. So we've got our web content filtering policy, we've got our security profile, and we've linked our web content filtering policy to it. Next, what do you think we need to do next? You guessed it. We need to create a ever powerful, ever important conditional access policy once again. Alrighty, so this time create a new policy. Let's call this one block socials. Who are we going to assign this to? Let's pick on Stella again. Users and groups. Let's go Stella and select. And let's go to target resources. And what we want to do here is click the drop down in target resources, select what this policy applies to. We are going to go global secure access preview. Select the traffic profiles this policy applies to. It's not Microsoft 365 traffic, but it is internet traffic. You'll notice the one that we didn't select, the private traffic, that is grayed out because we've not configured that just yet. Okay, wonderful. We can put in some conditions if we want. We can do so if need be. User risk, sign-in risk, insider risk, preview. Interesting. That's newish. I don't recall seeing that in conditional access before. Maybe I'm a little bit behind the times. Grant, we don't need to do anything in Grant in this scenario and conditional access, but what we do need to do is go into session controls and use global secure access security profile. The security profile that we set up was social blocking. If we select that, that's good. And let's go to on and create our conditional access policy and into policies. There we go. There we go. Block socials is on. Wonderful. Now, when editing this video, I did notice that my camera was obscuring an important checkbox that you needed to see. So in conditional access, what you can see here in the session controls is what I was describing, but instead you saw my face. Use global secure access security profile, and I selected the social blocking option. There we go. And back on the Windows 11 machine right now as well. The similar thing happened when I was showing you the global secure access client in the taskbar of the Windows machine. So you could see part of that. I'm right clicking on that now, and you can see that menu that I was showing you earlier. Right, so let's try this out in our Edge browser and see if the policy has applied. Let's first try a social media site, twitter.com, and yeah, there we go. We cannot reach the page. That's exactly the behavior we were expecting. Let's try the same with facebook.com, and Facebook's still getting through at the minute, so the policy's got a way to go. It'll kick in, I'm sure, very soon. We should still be able to access LinkedIn because that is a professional media criteria as opposed to social media, so we can certainly get to that. But you can see the desired effect on twitter.com. It's caught up with that on the policy. One more thing we can try. Let's try TikTok, for example, and see if that is getting blocked yet. And there we go. That's blocked as well. So just Facebook to catch up, and we are good to go. Excellent. So a few other things to show you before we close out the video. If we go to the monitor section here, which I've just closed, let's reopen it, and let's go through what we've got under monitor. Audit logs. Now you'll see a few examples of this where the features are not there yet. That's because it's a preview feature that Microsoft are working very hard on. So no audit logs at the moment. Let's we'll come back to traffic logs because that's what I want to particularly look at. But let's look at workbooks. We can configure Azure workbooks in conjunction with global secure access, and I had to go up and check what it's called. It was so obvious, wasn't it? So you can tie it in with that. Enriched M365 logs. So excited to introduce the enriched SharePoint audit logs in collaboration with Office 365. We've enriched the SharePoint logs for security applications with additional enrichments from internet access like device data, original public IP, and more. This empowers security and IT teams to utilize their Office audit logs for more effective monitoring, detection, investigation, and analytics. So navigate to global settings, logging to configure the preview. Okay, interesting. Remote network health logs, not applicable to what we've configured today. Deployment logs, working hard on this feature. Back to what I want to show you though, traffic logs. In the short time that I've set this up in front of you today, basically, there are a ton of logs already generated in here, and we can scroll and scroll and scroll, and there's tons of stuff already. So mainly related to Stella logging onto things on her machine, and let's see if I can find that block action. Let me see, can I filter by action equals block and apply. Okay, that's interesting. I would have expected to see a block action there because it was blocking access without the client when we try to get into 365. The traffic type, internet traffic. So maybe this potentially looks only at internet traffic. Let's just have a look at the The traffic type, is there a filter by traffic type? I could actually type that in, couldn't I? There isn't. Okay, interesting. I'm learning by doing here, learning along with you. But what you'll see is all of this activity, and we can click on that activity and drill down and see more information on it, the headers and session IDs and so on and so forth. And we can actually at the top here, it's obvious, it's in front of me. All connections I'm viewing by here at the moment. Internet access I can filter by, very quick filters there. Private access, not relevant yet because I've not configured it. Microsoft 365 access. What have we got here? This shows you all of Stella's activity for Microsoft 365 access. I'm a little surprised that we didn't have that block action in there. I'm not quite sure why. And I've accidentally clicked off traffic logs, but never mind. But there we go. I think we've shown you just about everything that I want to show you in here today. So with that said, let's start winding up the video. Wow, how amazing was that? Some really cool features in Microsoft Entra Global Secure Access brackets preview. Remember that it is a preview feature, so be careful about how you're deploying it at the moment if you're looking at it, but really, really great stuff. I know there's going to be more to come from that. I'll be keeping a close eye on it for sure. Let me know if you've checked it out, if you've tested it, what you think about it, what you want from it. I'm always eager to hear your comments and your views. Right, let's wind up the video. Give me a great big massive thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. I don't mind either way. It's your voice. You can say whatever you want on this channel. All opinions are welcome. If you are planning on sticking around, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps me so much. You have no idea. It helps me to reach more of a wider audience, and we can all learn, share, and repeat together, which is what I'm passionate about on this channel. Do look at the join button as well if you want to become a member of our growing little community. There's lots of perks you can check out. Okay, until next time, I will see you down the road. You take care. Bye-bye.